Hey there, it's me, Jester. So today I'm going to talk to all of you brownies out there who want to work on your Outdoor Art Creator badge. For your badge, there are 5 different parts. The first step is to find art ideas outdoors. And for this, there are 3 options. 1. Go on a nature detective walk. So for this one, you can head outside and then you can potentially grab a paper towel or maybe a toilet paper roll, put your eye through it and see if you can spot any really great things in nature. Perhaps a bird or a flower or perhaps a tree. The second option for this one is use your senses in nature. So for this, I recommend going outside and sitting very, very quietly and using all of your senses to see what you can feel, or see, or hear, or perhaps touch. So maybe you feel the warmth of the sun on your skin or a cool breeze. Perhaps you see some beautiful flowers growing in the distance and you hear the sound of rolling waves, or maybe it's a little creek trickling through the woods. Or perhaps maybe you just hear some dogs or cars, just depending on where you are, really. The third option in this is to meet an artist who makes art out of things they see or find outside. So this could be perhaps a neighbor, a local artist, maybe an older girl who really likes to draw or is inspired by nature. Make sure to ask them lots of great questions about what inspires them to create their art. The second part of this badge is to make something. So for this one, there's also 3 options. 1. Make something that you can wear. So this could potentially be something you find outside. So perhaps you found some acorns, or maybe you found some down cute little twigs, or stones or shells, and you want to turn this into something really cool. Or maybe you can get a piece of clay and mold it into whatever that outdoor nature-inspired art that you'd like to turn into a necklace, a bracelet, maybe something else that you can wear. So the second option is to give a gift of nature. So perhaps you go outside and find some twigs on the ground and you put them together and to create a picture frame for someone you care about. Or maybe you're inspired by the leaves and you take a bunch of paper and draw some beautiful leaves on it, cut them out and attach them to a craft stick. This way you can create a fan. The third option in this one is to rub or press something that's found from nature. So some of you might have done this before, where you can do leaf rubbings, or perhaps do a bark rubbing, or maybe a flower, where you basically get a piece of paper, place the item beneath it, and use the flat side of a crayon to color over it so you get the imprint on that sheet of paper. The third part of this badge is to dance or make music outdoors. So one option could be to play a nature dance game outside. So perhaps you get a bunch of Igneth cards and write different motions for different things that you notice in nature. For example, slither like a snake or hop like a kangaroo. And you and your friends could play a game where you flip them over and act it out together. The second option is to make a nature song. So using the sounds you could hear outside, write a fun song that has to do with that sound and being in nature. The third option is to make a wind chime. Now there's all sorts of cool ways you can do this one. You can start with a giant twig about this long attach strings to it, and maybe attach to that different things that could knock together to make fun noises. For example, seashells is a good option, or maybe some recycled bottle caps that are metal. This way when they clang together, they sound really cool. Perhaps you can use some sticks as well, and maybe little pebbles. The fourth part in this badge is to be a nature photographer. The first option is to take pictures from a miniature world. So, what you can do for this one is if you have a camera, you can pretend to be like a tiny little ant and try to take pictures from what you think an ant would see. So instead of taking pictures of grass from way up above where you're standing, you might want to get really close to the ground and zoom in on that one blade because that might be exactly what that ant sees. The second option is you can make a video about something outside in nature and record it at different times of the day. For example, perhaps you're going to focus in on this beautiful sunflower that you see. And what you can do is you can record it during different parts of the day. So early in the morning when the first sun's rising, in the middle of the afternoon, and perhaps in the early evening or even at night. And then you can also, to make it more fun, is create a story around it for your video. And the third option, well, no camera, no worries. Instead of using a camera, if you don't have one, what you can do, which will be very easy, is to go outside and pick something that you see in nature and draw it. Draw what you see. The fifth part of this badge is to design with nature. The first part is to build a brownie elf house outdoors. So what you can go do is find a little area where you think a tiny little elf might want to live and build a little elf house for her made out of sticks and rocks, but make sure that these are from sticks that you find on the ground. The second option for this one is to create a mini garden. So perhaps you can get a little box and plant some flowers in it, maybe some geraniums because they smell lovely, and you can add some rocks and some dirt just to make it a little bit more like a big garden. If you don't have a box, you could even use a little mini egg carton shell and plant little flowers individually. What's also really cool about using the egg cartons that are made of pressed paper, not styrofoam, is that if your plant gets a little bigger, you can eventually take it and plant the whole thing outside somewhere or into a bigger pot if the plant gets big. The third option for step 5 is to make some window art. And so that could be making a sun catcher, that could be painting on a window, it can be any of those things. Because the cool thing about window art is that it uses light from outside to shine through it to show its beauty, kind of like a stained glass window, if you've ever seen one of those. Today, I'm going to show you how to create a very simple sun catcher that you can put in your window. So in order to create this sun catcher, you're going to need some supplies. So first, you're going to get some colorful tissue paper, kind of like this. Any color will do. Lots of times parents use them to wrap gifts or to put in Christmas bags or gift bags. So make sure you ask your parents before you go out and try to buy some. The second thing you're going to need is some black construction paper. Black works the best just because it blocks out the light, and then you'll see what we're doing, which will make a lot more sense later. But if you don't have black, that's okay. You can use whatever color you have. The third thing you're going to need is a pair of scissors, and the fourth is some glue. So the first thing you're going to do is take your paper and you're going to fold it in half. Just like this. Then you're going to want to fold it in half again. And again. If you want to go further that you can, but I'm going to stop here because I feel really comfortable with this amount of folds. So, some of you might have done this before when you made winter snowflakes, because you can do something similar if you have white paper, but we're going to be doing a sun catcher, so I'm using black. And you're going to take your pair of scissors, and with the folds, you're going to cut shapes into it. So, for example, I'm going to do a little heart right here. So I'm going to cut a half a heart into this part where it folds. So this way when I unfold it, it'll create a nice big heart. And so you're going to keep cutting holes in it, and eventually when you unfold it, it'll look like this. So I'm sure you've seen these made before, or maybe you've made it. If not, that's totally fine. But either way, you're going to want to put more cuts into the paper like this. So just fold it back up, and you can keep going whatever design you want. You can be creative, you can do triangles, you can do stripes, whatever you really want. So when you're all done cutting, you're going to have a beautiful work of art just like this, or a different shape. There's no wrong way to do it, however creative you want it to be. I put all these little shapes in here, so there's a lot of holes. It's important to have multiple or a spread out amount, because what you're going to do next is what's going to make it look really cool. So we're going to put that down for now. So next, you're going to want to take your tissue paper, the color of hearts, and you're going to want to take it and you can cut it into different shapes. So maybe you want to make little rectangles like this, or if you want to create some wacky looking triangles, you can. Any shape will do. You can make them all different sizes as well. Alright, I'm going to make this a square. Perfect. And when you're done with that, you're going to have a whole pile of these little pieces. So, the next part you're going to do is you're going to take the black part and your glue stick. You're going to put some glue on the back of your black construction paper that you've cut out. So I'll do a little bit right now. So see, I put a little bit of glue right here on the outside. You don't want to put it on the hole because then I'll just get on your table silly. But go around the black paper. You can go section by section and doing a little bit at a time. So once you have that part of it glued, you can take whatever color piece of paper you want. So I'm going to take this weird shaped purple piece, and I'm going to stick it to where I just glued. So it's going to look something like that. Notice on this side, it's going to start showing colors. So you can do this in any pattern you want with whatever color. So I'm going to do a few more pieces to show you. And you can just keep going until you finish up your entire thing. And if you move really fast, you can be like me and do this. So the back of it's going to look a little wonky and wacky because you're gluing all these pieces onto the back of it. When you flip over the front, the black parts cover it to create a picture. So you're almost done. Let's see how we can turn this into window art. So when you're done with your beautiful sun catcher that you just made, with permission from a Pyramid Guardian and a good window that has lots of sunlight, unfortunately it's a bit cloudy out right now, but it'll still work. You're going to take some tape, find a great window to put it on, like this one right here. And if you attach it to your window, just like this, when the sun shines through, it'll let your colors show. And sometimes colors overlap and create other really cool colors as well. When you've earned this badge, you'll know how to do different types of art outside that is inspired by nature. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in, and I hope you have a wonderful day exploring the outdoors.